Okay, I think I figured out how to go live. Let's see if I can figure out how to share my screen. There we go. Learn something new every day. Let's see who is joining us today. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, as many of you know, there is a new program for families that are wanting school choice in Texas. And there was a bill passed in 2025 allowing Texas to offer a school savings account for families that are interested and being able to have control over their educational dollars for their child. In Texas, this is called the Texas Education Freedom Account, and it launched on February 4th and will be open until March 17th. So this is just some information to share with families so that you can make an educated decision on if this is good for you and your family. Okay, so what is it? It is the I'm going to call it the TEFA as a short acronym for Texas Education Freedom Accounts. So is this a voucher or an ESA? ESA stands for an Education Savings Account. So technically, it's closer to an educational savings account because in the traditional terms of voucher would mean that you would get something and then be able to exchange it for one other item. So if I was to get a voucher for a free ice cream, I would get a ticket or a check or something, a coupon, and I would then go get one ice cream. Where an education savings account is a pot of money that is used to buy things that it qualifies for. So think of this as more like the health savings accounts that you maybe get with your work or with an insurance policy, where you could go and purchase things as long as they qualify and use the money from that account. So this is a state-funded educational account for families that have applied and have been approved or selected to use the public education dollars for learning options that are outside of the public school. So look at this as education funding that follows your child instead of staying without, like with the state if your child does not go to public school, or to the public if you go to public school. Okay, why is Texas offering this? Actually, Texas is leading the way and making a lot of national news because it has created the largest budget for the first year of a savings account, an educational savings account across any other state that has opened up this kind of account for their kids. And not only that, but it opened up a week ago and a little over a week ago, I guess now, and there has been over 100,000 families apply and be accepted into the lottery. So this is huge. This is the largest amount of families that have looked for something like this. So why is this happening? Texas has been listening to its voters over many years, and the voters have asked for options for their families learning, for their education learning for their child. And families want things like a different school, not just what's in their zip code. They feel like maybe their child isn't thriving in traditional school. They need something different. They need it customized. And this pressure from the voters and from the political um, community has really pushed lawmakers to make this change. So, with that being said, who can apply? Well, this is for any Texas resident child. So there are a few things just to keep in mind. Your child has to be a US citizen and a citizen of Texas. That can be determined by them residing in Texas with one parent who has either a driver's license or a bill or a lease or a note for a house in the state of Texas. So the child has to have a social security number and the parent has to have some documentation showing that they reside in Texas. It doesn't have to be all parent or both parents, but just at least one. So students who are currently enrolled in public school qualify. Students who are currently in homeschool qualify. Pre-K students that are incoming for next year, as long as they qualify for the pre-K program in the public schools, which is based off of a few factors. And then all kids that are kindergartners through 12th grade qualify. And it doesn't matter if they have a learning disability or not. Now, this is the big question that many families are asking. How much money do you actually get? So it is broken down into 3 different sections. One, private school students will get roughly $10,474 to go towards their tuition and other items if the tuition is less than that amount. This is for any kid that are going to private school, including pre-K and kindergarten. Okay, now kids that have a disability, a documented disability. This would be students that have an IEP and need different services. They will qualify for up to $30,000 if they're going to go to private school. And then last, all of our homeschool families, you will qualify for $2,000 to supplement your curriculum or to pay for your curriculum. Now, the prioritization, that was a tongue twister for me today, goes like this. And this will take place because we've already hit the number of qualified students for the amount of money that Texas has allotted. So they're roughly thinking that about 90,000 students would qualify or would be using the $1 billion that they have reserved. We already have 100,000 students that have applied. So they will be using this prioritization. First, students who have a disability and their family of 4 makes under 165,000. 2, children whose family makes under 165,000 earlier, sorry. 2, the second pot will be for students who their family makes under 67,000 of a family of 4. Does not have to have a documented disability. And 3, families who make between that 65 and 165, or 67, I'm sorry, to 165, who are a family of 4 who do not have a documented disability. And then children whose families make over 165,000, as long as they were not in a private school for this last year. This will work for any student who either is entering school or was in a public, charter, or homeschooled for the 2025-26 school year. Some things to really keep in mind is that students who get accepted for the voucher or for the for the educational savings program, they will if any of their siblings also apply, they will keep the family together. So all the students that have their family has received, at least one student in their family has received the educational savings account, will then apply to all of them. So this is a really good perk that Texas has decided to do to families together. Another thing just to consider is that once you've applied and received the savings account once, as long as you stay in good standing, using the money appropriately and following the rules, you will continue to get the savings as long as your child is eligible for it, meaning that they're still in school. Okay, what can the money be used for? It can be used for a lot of different things: tuition, fees, textbooks, uniforms, class fees that are provided by a school district. So think of after school clubs, as long as you do not have to attend the school on a daily basis. Other things to consider are any kind of assessments, private tutoring, transportation could be considered, therapies that are not covered under your insurance, computers, hardware or software, and then also meals if the school requires them or it's provided. What can it not be used for? It cannot be used to pay a family member. And just so you know, if you do not use all the money in 1 year, it will roll over for the following year. Okay, does this really hurt our public schools? I hear a lot of negative comments about how this is going to affect public schools. And the truth is, students are leaving public school at a record rate currently. And that money does not stay at the public school as we speak now. So this will not change. If the child is not going to go to public school, the money will just follow them instead of staying at the state level. So as long as a child is in school, in public school, they will get the money that they've been getting, and this doesn't change that. Okay, things to remember. The application already opened, like I said, February 4th. You are welcome to apply all the way to March 17th, and this does not change the likelihood of you getting the money. If you apply on February 5th, you don't have a better chance than if you apply March 16th. Families will know if they have been awarded the money, if they were selected by the middle of or early April. I'm hearing April 1st. Next thing to remember is you need to determine what school you would like your child to go to. It's always better to pick to go to a private school because you can always go down to homeschooling if you change your mind, but you can't go back up. You can't take an option that's more money later. So just think, what's the most that I would like to apply for, and apply for that because you can always take less. And then you need to determine which school you would like your child to go to by mid-June. And then the first initial funding will go July 1st. And then 3 installments of money will go to the whatever institution or programs you've selected. Okay, one of the things that have been asked a lot is how often will a child be tested? So just so you know, testing will be part of the new TEFA program, but it is definitely not going to be what the public schools do, because as of right now, the public schools test multiple times during a year. The only requirement is one assessment by the school to ensure that the children are progressing. This could be something like NWA MAP or a variety of other assessments. If you are choosing to do the homeschool route, you do not have to do the assessment. That has not been determined. Oh, and also this is important because I just realized this, that students that are below third grade do not have to take the assessment. What does this mean for families like you? Well, it means that you can decide if your child needs something different than public traditional school. Do they need a smaller class size? Do they learn different or at a different pace? Have they struggled in the traditional school setting? And do they thrive with hands-on and personalized instruction? If this is the case, then this might be good for you. Now, something to consider. Hatch Academy is um, a, a school that is a modern learning community for ages 4 to 12 and is designed for families that are wanting something different. It focuses on flexibility, personalized instruction, tutoring support at the skill level that the child is working on, and then opportunities to be able to develop themselves and build confidence. We will be accepting the educational savings funds as we will be accredited for the upcoming school year. Next, stay informed. Join Hatch Academy to get more information, follow the progress of starting out this next school year, and make sure that you know what options you are interested in so that when you apply for the TEFA program, you know what to select and you are ready to pick the school that you're interested in when the time comes. Okay, just some information as we close out for tonight. Don't forget that the program or an open enrollment is February 4th through March 17th. You do not have to choose the school when you apply. Students entering pre-K are eligible as long as they qualify for the pre-K free learning program through the state. Funding is based on a priority categories and money can determine or the money is determined by the need of the student or the program the family chooses to use. And don't forget to go on to educationfreedom.texas.gov to learn more information. And that is it for tonight. I hope you have a great evening and reach out if you have any questions.